Welcome to the Deep Dive. We're here to cut through the noise and get you the insights you actually need. And today, we're tackling a really important topic for anyone living with or thinking about getting a pet in Portugal. We're talking about pet insurance. Now, whether you're an expat, maybe you just moved here with your furry friend, or perhaps you're looking to adopt locally, understanding pet insurance here is, well, it's crucial. We've gathered a whole load of sources, everything from the legal bits, specific types of cover, even tips on how to save a bit of money. Our mission today, to unpack all of this, find those key pieces of information, and give you a really clear, practical grasp of pet insurance in Portugal, so you feel informed, ready to make good choices for your pets.
Absolutely. And it's so important because it's not just about, covering those unexpected vet bills, though that's a huge part of it. It's also about understanding your legal responsibilities here in Portugal and honestly just having that peace of mind, knowing you can afford the care your pet might need.
Okay, let's jump right in then. We often think pet ownership is all cuddles and walks, right? But here in Portugal, it comes with some pretty concrete responsibilities. We're talking potential vet costs and legal liabilities too.
Yeah, and what's really interesting from the sources is that Portugal has specific legal requirements, especially for certain breeds, that go beyond just, general good care, which leads to a really key question. Are you actually aware of the mandatory liability insurance for breeds legally classified as dangerous?
Right, and this often catches people out. The sources are really explicit. They list the breeds. You've got the Pit Bull Terrier, Rottweiler, Staffordshire Terrier, Fila Basilero, Dogo Argentino, American Staffordshire Terrier, and the Tosa Inu. For owners of these dogs, it's not optional. It's legally required. A minimum of €50,000 in liability coverage. And that cover has to be continuous, renewed every year, and you need the proof for licensing your dog. There are real penalties if you don't comply.
Exactly. And if you look at the bigger picture, it's not just the insurance. Owners of these breeds also have to register their dog with the local Junta de Freguesia. That's your sort of local council office. Plus, complete a behavior assessment, keep vaccinations totally up to date, and even use a muzzle when out in public spaces. It's quite a comprehensive set of rules.
So, okay, what does all this mean for you, the listener? Whether you have one of those specific breeds or maybe just a chilled out cat, a gato. Let's look at the types of insurance available. First up, there's liability-only insurance. The official name is Seguro de Responsabilidad Civil. This is the essential stuff, and like we said, mandatory for those listed breeds.
And this basically covers you if your pet, say, injures someone or damages their property. Think about it. Third-party injury claims, damage your dog might cause, legal costs if someone sues you, even things like incidents in public or if a visitor gets hurt by your pet in your own home.
And the cost for just that liability part?
Surprisingly low, often. You're looking at maybe 20 to 30 euros a year for basic cover, perhaps 40 to 60 euros if you want higher limits. Insurers often do multi-pet discounts too, although those specific dangerous breeds usually cost a bit more, understandably.
Okay, so that's liability. But most people thinking about pet insurance are also thinking about health, right? Vet bills, which brings us to comprehensive pet health insurance.
Exactly. This is where you get into the medical side. Typically, this covers accidents and illnesses, so vet consultations, diagnostic tests like x-rays, blood work medications, surgery if they need to be hospitalized, emergency care. And some plans, the more comprehensive ones, also include preventive care, things like the annual checkup, vaccinations, deworming, flea and tick stuff, even dental cleaning sometimes.
And beyond those basics, some plans offer even more.
Oh yeah. Some of the higher tier plans might cover alternative therapies like acupuncture, maybe behavioral treatments for anxiety or aggression, prescription diets if needed, and sadly, things like euthanasia and cremation services. Some even help cover costs like advertising if your pet goes missing.
Okay, so there are different levels. Can you give us a rough idea of the tiers?
Sure. The sources sort of break it down like this. You've got basic, which is often accidents only. Maybe $60, $100 a year, good for young, healthy pets perhaps. Then standard, covering accidents and illness, probably 120, 200 annually. That's suitable for most people. Then premium. That's the really comprehensive stuff, often bundles in wellness care. You're looking at $200, $400 a year for that top-level protection. And finally, there are senior plans, tailored for older pets, maybe $300, $500 a year, addressing their specific needs.
Right, understanding those tiers is helpful, but then comes the bit everyone loves, the fine print. And knowing these policy terms is so important, isn't it, to avoid nasty surprises later?
Absolutely crucial. And one thing that jumps out immediately are the waiting periods. This is the time between buying the policy and when the cover actually starts. For accidents, it's usually pretty short, like 48 hours up to a week. But for illness, it's longer, typically 14 to 30 days.
And for some things, even longer waits.
Yes. Be aware that orthopedic conditions, like hip dysplasia maybe, can have waits of up to 6 months. Dental procedures often have a 3 to 6 month wait. And chronic conditions might have even longer initial exclusion periods. You really need to check that.
Which brings us to the big one, pre-existing conditions. What's the deal there? Because this causes a lot of confusion.
Yeah, and the sources are quite clear. Pre-existing conditions are typically excluded. We're talking about anything diagnosed before the policy started. Also, hereditary conditions, congenital defects, things the pet was born with, or even previous injuries that haven't fully resolved.
So it's vital to be upfront about medical history.
Totally vital. You have to provide a full medical history. Giving false information could actually void your entire policy. Don't risk it.
Okay, what about age? Are there limits?
Yes, there are usually age restrictions for starting a policy. Often it's from 8 weeks old up to maybe 8 years for dogs, perhaps 10 years for cats. And as you'd expect, premiums generally increase as your pet gets older.
Do policies stop when a pet gets really old?
Some insurers do have upper age limits beyond which they won't renew or offer new policies, but others offer lifetime cover. Even then, coverage for senior pets might become more restricted or exclude certain age-related conditions. It varies.
Okay, so armed with all that, who are the main companies offering this in Portugal, if you're starting to shop around?
Well, you've got several major players. Fidelidade PTs is a big one. Lots of plan options, good online system usually. Generali Tranquilidad is another, known for comprehensive cover, often includes vaccinations, and they promote a 24/7 vet helpline, which is useful. Then there's Matis Pet, part of the Ages group. They often focus on preventive care and direct billing through their network. MAPFA Pets offers flexibility and sometimes international cover options, which could appeal to expats.
Any others?
Yeah, there are also more specialized providers like Vet Plus and Advanced Care Pet. They often work heavily with vet networks and focus on wellness plans too.
Right. So lots of options. Let's talk costs then. What actually drives the price you pay? Because it seems like it varies quite a bit.
It really does. Obviously, the level of cover you choose is a big factor, but beyond that, it's very much about pet-specific factors. Like, the species dogs generally cost more to insure than cats. The breed matters. Some breeds are just higher risk for certain health problems. Age, as we mentioned, is a huge factor. Older pets cost more. Size, too, especially for dogs. Larger dogs often mean higher premiums.
Even where you live?
Surprisingly, yes. Your location can make a difference. Vet costs can be higher in urban areas, so premiums might reflect that.
Okay, so those are things about the pet. What about the policy choices you make?
Right, the coverage factors you control. Your deductible, that's the amount you pay first before the insurance kicks in, usually somewhere between €0 and €150. Your chosen annual limit, the maximum the policy will pay out per year, maybe 1,000, up to 10,000 or more, and the reimbursement percentage. After your deductible, what percentage of the remaining bill does the insurer cover? Usually 70% to 90%.
Can you give us some ballpark figures, like for a typical dog or cat?
Sure, let's try. For a young, healthy dog, maybe 2 years old, a small breed might be 8 to 15 euros a month. A large breed may be 15 to 30 euros a month. An adult cat, say 5 years old, could be around 6 to 15 euros a month.
And older pets?
That's where it jumps. For senior pets, 10 years plus, you could easily be looking at 30 to 50 euros a month, maybe even more. And the options might be fewer or have more restrictions.
Okay, that gives a clearer picture. Now let's talk about actually using the insurance, getting care, making claims. You mentioned vet networks and direct billing.
Yes, this is a really convenient aspect of many Portuguese policies.
Right.
Using a vet within the insurer's network often means direct billing. The big plus there is usually reduced rates, and crucially, you don't have to pay the full amount up front. You just pay your share, like the deductible or copay.
And the vet handles the rest with the insurer.
Exactly. It simplifies things a lot. Major networks include Advanced Care Vet, Fidelidade Partners, Generali Preferred Vets. Different insurers have different partnerships.
What if you use a vet outside the network?
Then it's usually a reimbursement process. You pay the vet the full amount directly at the time of service. Then you submit a claim form, along with the itemized receipts, to your insurer. They process it, and then they pay you back the covered amount. Typically that 70–90%, usually within a few weeks, maybe 2 to 4.
And the claims process itself? Pretty simple.
Generally, yes. For direct billing, you show your insurance card, the vet checks your cover, and they bill the insurer. Easy. For reimbursement, you pay, Get that detailed invoice, fill out the insurer's claim form, often online now, and submit it, usually within a set time frame, like 30 or 60 days.
What documents do you typically need?
You'll definitely need the itemized invoice from the vet, probably some medical records or notes about the diagnosis, and proof that you paid the bill. Keep everything.
Okay, so we know what's covered, how claims work. What about the things that are usually not covered? Understanding the exclusions is just as vital, right?
Absolutely. You need to know the boundaries. Typically excluded are things like purely cosmetic procedures, tail docking, ear cropping, that kind of thing. Also, breeding-related costs are usually out. And preventable diseases, if your pet isn't properly vaccinated, insurers expect you to keep up with routine preventive care.
What about food or supplements?
Generally not covered, unless it's a specific prescription diet prescribed by the vet for a covered medical condition. And watch out for specific conditions like hip dysplasia. They might have longer waiting periods or need a specific add-on policy. Oh, and experimental treatments are almost always excluded too.
Got it. So with all this complexity, how do you actually choose the right cover for your specific pet? Let's break it down maybe for dogs, then cats.
Okay, for dog owners, first, think about breed-specific risks. Are they prone to anything in particular? Consider their lifestyle. A super active dog might have more accident risk than a couch potato. Remember those mandatory liability requirements if you have one of the listed breeds. Definitely start cover young if possible for better rates and fewer pre-existing issues. And always balance the level of cover with what you can realistically afford each month or year.
And for cat owners, what are the key thoughts there?
For cats, a big one is indoor versus outdoor. An outdoor cat naturally has higher risks, accidents, fights, picking up diseases.
Makes sense.
If you have more than one cat, definitely look for multi-cat discounts. Think about common chronic issues in cats like kidney disease or hyperthyroidism, especially as they age. Dental coverage is often really important for cats too, and if you travel with your cat, check the policy covers that.
What about less common pets, like reptiles or birds, exotic pets?
Ah, yes, exotic pets. That's a tougher area. There are far fewer providers offering insurance for them. Their veterinary needs are often highly specialized, which means costs can be higher. Coverage varies massively, so you really need to scrutinize the policy details and exclusions if you're insuring an exotic pet. It's much more niche.
That makes sense. Now, you mentioned preventive care earlier. It seems like insurers are increasingly integrating this, wellness plans and add-ons.
Definitely. Many insurers now offer wellness add-ons specifically designed to cover routine preventive care. These usually help pay for things like the annual checkup, the standard vaccination schedule, parasite prevention deworming, flea treatments, routine dental cleanings, and sometimes even contribute towards spaying or neutering.
Is it worth paying extra for a wellness add-on? What's the cost benefit?
Well, the sources suggest it often is. An add-on might cost, say, an extra 5 to 15 euros per month. But by covering those routine procedures, it could save you 100 euro to 300 euro annually. Plus, perhaps more importantly, it encourages you to get that essential preventive care done, which can catch problems early and potentially save you much bigger bills and heartache down the road.
Good point. Okay, let's switch gears slightly. Saving money. Are there smart ways to reduce the cost of pet insurance?
Yes, there are definitely strategies. One is choosing a higher deductible. If you're willing to pay more out of pocket initially, your premium will be lower. Paying annually instead of monthly often gets you a discount, maybe 5–10%.
Multi-pet policies.
Absolutely. If you have more than one pet, insuring them together on one policy is almost always cheaper than separate policies. And kind of obviously, keeping your pet healthy through good diet, exercise, and preventive care can reduce claims, which might help keep premiums lower over time.
And the big one.
Compare providers. Don't just take the first quote. Prices and coverage details can vary significantly between insurers, so shop around. Use comparison websites if they're available.
What about alternatives like not getting insurance at all?
Yeah, the sources mention a couple of main alternatives. One is self-insurance. Basically, you create your own emergency fund by putting aside a set amount each month, maybe 50 or 100 euro. This can work, especially for young, healthy pets with low initial WUSC. But the big danger is a sudden massive vet bill early on that wipes out your fund before it's large enough.
Yeah.
You're carrying all the risk yourself.
And the other option, pet health plans.
Right, pet health plans. These aren't really insurance in the traditional sense. They're more like membership schemes, often offered by vet groups. You pay a monthly fee, maybe 10–15, and get discounts on services, maybe some included preventive care. They don't cover major unexpected events like insurance does, but they can be a good way to budget for routine care or perhaps supplement a high-deductible insurance policy.
Okay, let's think specifically about expats living in Portugal. Are there unique things they need to consider, like travel?
Yes, definitely. For international coverage and travel, many standard Portuguese policies will offer some emergency cover for travel within the EU. You'll need the EU pet passport, of course. But outside the EU, coverage is usually very limited or non-existent unless you get a specific travel add-on or separate pet travel insurance. So check that carefully if you travel further afield with your pet.
And what happens if you leave Portugal permanently?
Your Portuguese policy will end. There's no international transfer for these kinds of policies. You'll need to arrange new insurance in your destination country.
But your pet's medical history follows them.
Yes, the medical history is transferable, so it's important to have those records ready for your new insurer. Planning that transition is key.
What about language? Is support available in English?
Increasingly, yes. Many major providers offer policy summaries or key documents in English and have multilanguage customer service or claims support, which is a huge help for expats.
Interesting. The sources even mention special cases, like working dogs.
There are enhanced or specialized policies available for animals like service dogs, therapy animals, security dogs, even show animals or breeding stock. These often include extra coverages relevant to their role, like loss of use benefit if they can no longer perform their duties, theft protection, maybe cover for injuries sustained during competition or work, breeding complications cover, and often much higher liability limits.
Okay, we've covered a massive amount of ground, so let's try and pull it together. When it comes down to it, is pet insurance actually worth it for you?
It's a personal decision, but generally the consensus is yes, it's worth it if you have a young pet,
Yeah.
because premiums are lower and you lock in cover before issues arise. Also, if your pet is a breed known for health problems. If you value budget certainty and want to avoid potentially crippling surprise bills, if you want the peace of mind knowing you can afford comprehensive care, or if you're just generally risk-averse financially.
And when might you consider not getting it? Or maybe opting for just liability?
You might lean towards skipping comprehensive health cover if you have significant savings set aside specifically for pet emergencies and feel comfortable managing that risk. Maybe if you have a very old pet with lots of pre-existing condition exclusions already, making comprehensive cover less valuable. Or if you've had pets for years with minimal vet needs and feel comfortable taking that gamble, assuming you have funds available if disaster strikes.
But liability is still key, especially for those specific breeds.
Oh, absolutely. The mandatory liability for those listed breeds is non-negotiable. And even for other pets, basic liability is very affordable and provides crucial protection.
So what are the practical next steps if someone's listening and thinking, okay, I need to look into this?
Right. First step, research. Understand your own pet's needs, their breed's potential risks. Second, compare. Get quotes from at least 3 different providers. Look closely at what each offers for the price. Third, read the details. Pay attention to waiting periods, exclusions, limits, deductibles. Don't just look at the headline price. Fourth, check the vet network. Is your preferred vet in their network? Is there a convenient network vet nearby? And finally, apply early if possible, especially with a young pet, to get ahead of potential pre-existing conditions.
And it's good to remember how this fits with other insurance you might have, right?
Exactly. Your home insurance might offer some basic pet liability worth checking. Legal protection insurance could potentially cover pet-related disputes. Specific travel insurance might cover pet travel issues. But the crucial thing to remember is that your own personal health insurance will not cover anything related to your pet, including if they bite you or cause an injury. That's what the pet's liability covers for, or your own accident cover.
It really comes down to assessing your own situation, doesn't it?
It does. Which brings us back to that core question for you, the listener. What's your comfort level with a monthly premium versus a potential huge unexpected bill? And what kind of cover, just liability or full medical too, best suits your pet and gives you the most peace of mind?
Wow. That really was a deep dive into pet insurance in Portugal. We've gone all the way from those legal liability requirements, that €50,000 minimum for certain breeds, through understanding waiting times, how direct billing works, and even finding ways to maybe shave a bit off the cost.
And knowing these details, it really does empower you, doesn't it? It lets you give your pet the best care without that constant background worry about a massive bill. It's really about planning proactively for their health and for your own financial calm.
So, as you think about everything we've discussed today, what's the key takeaway for you? What really stood out? And maybe, as you consider what to do next for your own companion, here's a final thought to chew on. Beyond just the money, beyond the financial safety net, How does really understanding and engaging with pet insurance actually change or deepen your relationship with your pet? How does it contribute to that bond, ensuring they're truly seen and cared for as a valued member of the family, ready for whatever life might throw your way? Thank you so much for joining us on the deep dive. We genuinely hope you feel much more informed now and ready to explore the best options for you and your pet.